Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In today's video I'm gonna tell you and show you about Haibike Nduro 8, what you saw in the thumbnail. I have been riding this bike for past months, covering about 70,000 meters of elevation. I got this bike through a job bike scheme, which is quite common here in Germany. I'm not sure where to start this review because there is so much I want to cover, so let's begin. This is the top model, which features Öhlins DH38 fork and TTX22 coil. It took me about 5 to 6 rides to get the suspension setup dialed in, and I had to do bracketing. Unfortunately, as far as I know, only Norco bicycles offer what's called ride lines that provides precise suspension settings based on your weight, height and riding style, so you don't have to tinker with the suspension settings. Haibike doesn't offer any guidance on suspension, so you will need to learn the basics of setup and adjustments. This is my first experience with the Öhlins and I must say I'm quite impressed. I got so impressed that I even got the same coil for my Norco range. Fork does have only high speed, low speed and rebound adjustment, and that means in reality you can screw less things. The difference between the clicks are really noticeable. I could say 100 times repeated cliche about plushness, support and whatever words to try to stimulate your dopamine, but you really need to try to know if you like the Öhlins and if it fits you. Not so long ago, Viral posted a comparison video where they compared some forks and between which was also Öhlins. And you should go and check out the video from them because they really nail what they said about the forks from Öhlins. The Nduro 8 comes with excellent Magura MT7 brakes, 220mm rotor up front and 200 at the rear. However, they started making annoying noise after about 2 rides. I replaced the rotors with 2.3mm rotors from TRP and the issue disappeared. A friend with a new propane bike using the same rotors had the same problem as I did. Another problem what we both had, me on the Haibike and he on the propane, that the adapter for the front brake mount was 223 and the rotor was 220. I believe Magura didn't have adapters for 220 and they just slapped on 223 and called it a day. Cable operated Sram GX with 10 to 50 teeth cassette is sensible choice, affordable and reliable. However, the chain hasn't been as durable as I would hope for. After about 600 kilometers, I decided to change the chain just to get skipping on the cassette. So I had to also change the cassette. I recommend you to check your chain more often than you think. And also probably get X01 chain instead of GX. Wheels are Mavic e-deemax with 35mm width in the rear and 30mm up front. There haven't been any alignment issues with the rims, but the rear hub has a bit of play, which might be normal. I have hit the rims hard a few times and there are no sign of bending. Just to be clear, I'm also running an inliner to protect the rims. The Yamaha PWX3 motor is quiet, both uphill and downhill. And when riding with friends on Shimano EP801, I feel the Yamaha might be a slightly quieter, but it's a minor difference. In terms of power, Shimano might be a bit more powerful on the steep climbs, or I'm just heavier rider and that's why it seems slower. The motor is smooth overall, but I'm having one issue with the cranks. One side is now and then getting loose. The screw requires 45 Nm of torque, which is pretty much impossible to tighten up on the trail with a small multi-tool. The bike comes with the 175mm Haibike dropper seat post, which is both too short and poor quality. Upon removing it, I noticed it was already scratched inside, likely from the frame. Lots of my rides were in winter and early spring, with temperatures ranging 0 to 15 degrees Celsius. I weighed around 110 kilos fully kitted, and the range varies between 1515 and 1600 meters of climbing, depends on the surface. The bike has 5 levels of support, two blue, 2 green and yellow. There is also an intelligent mode, but I haven't used it. With the combination of the second blue and the first green, I estimate I could reach around 1700 meters of elevation on smooth surfaces in the warmer weather. Many factors can affect your range. There is also walk mode, which is very useful on the bike, and it was one of my requirements, because I have to remove the battery for charging after every ride. This battery has 5 LED indicators that shows the charge level, which is handy. However, if you charge the battery inside the bike, there is no indications of charge status. Only the charger itself shows a red LED, which shows that it's charging. The first major issue was loosening of the cranks. Next is the bike's wide rear end, which causes my foot to rub against the stays. I will need to find out the solution, such as adding protecting plastic cover to avoid damaging the aluminium. There is already some missing material on the weld, only after about 1000 kilometers. Also, the headset is starting to creak, possibly due to 58 millimeters offset of the fork. The paint scratches easily, and the bike is already showing many marks of use. Another annoyance is having to remove the battery for charging if there is no electricity at your bike storage. After removing the battery for 24 hours or longer and reinstalling it, it's challenging due to increased volume in the bumper. You have to really compress the battery to get it inside. The battery cover isn't waterproof, so be cautious when crossing some creek, for example. I had to swap the rear tire from Schwalbe Big Betty to Continental Cryptotal because the Big Betty didn't provide adequate grip in wet, off-camber routes. Big Betty just sucks. After several emails with Haibike, I discovered that there is no app from Haibike. There is a Yamaha app, but I couldn't connect my Android or iPhone to it. Bike's dual crown fork and 63-degree hand angle are designed for trail centers or bike parks without lift assist. The DH38 fork with a 58mm offset is great for high-speed stability and traction in berms. The bike is stable and planted on rough terrain, but feels heavy in slow technical turns. I've been thrown over the bars a few times, which could be due to its 58mm fork offset in slow, awkward turns. And possibly it's also because it's 1340mm wheelbase in my XL size. I was concerned that the triple clamp fork might hinder tight turns, but it's more the bike's length than the forks, I believe. Over time, I adjusted to the length and the stability benefits outweigh the disadvantages. If you prefer plowing through obstacles rather than jumping and playing with it, this bike is an excellent choice, I would say. If you decide to swap triple clamp for single crown fork, as I did, you will find that the bike rides much lighter on the front end, and it's more suitable for enduro trails. Should you do it or not is up to you. I did it and I didn't regret it. I'm gonna leave it that way because I like to ride the bike more without the triple clamp. So it's up to you if you do that or not. So that's all from me for today. If you're still here, thank you very much for watching. Hit the like if you like, and maybe if you like even more, then subscribe. And I'm gonna hopefully see you in the next video.